So this is the start of a 2-week unit on rhetoric and professional contexts, which is about basically being persuasive in the entry-level job market. So I'm particularly looking at how we can be more persuasive when we're applying to internships, when we're applying to our first jobs, and when we're also applying to grad schools. I'm going to give you the opportunity to choose a grad school of your choice, to choose a job or internship of your choice, and then you're going to craft a targeted cover letter or a personal statement if you're doing grad school. It's going to get you an interview at that job. This is probably my favorite unit because it's the most immediately relevant and most interesting for a lot of students in terms of being long-term valuable. So we are looking at rhetoric of basically, I want to not just look at cover letters, but networking in general. And I want to talk today about basically how significant this is. And definitely this is true that what we're doing when we're doing this well is reading, not just reading job postings and employer websites, which is what you're going to be doing on Thursday, but analyzing the situation that the people who wrote that job posting might be in. What we're going to see in my bid or my idea that I think is true in a lot of cases is the person that understands what they're looking for the most. Like whoever reads the situation most accurately and then expresses themselves carefully with kindness, I think is the person that's going to get the interview. Right? Cover letter is a way of getting an interview. Obviously, the interview is a way to cement that you're the best person for a job. We know all this, right? How many of us are going to college to get a good job, or at least that's one big reason why we want to be in college? So before we go any further, how do we define a good job? What would make like your dream job? It not feeling like work. Awesome. Other answers. Yeah, Christian. Yes. So what else? What makes a dream job? We have opportunity to not feel like work. So we actually enjoy what we're doing. Good pay. What else? Kristen?
How many people you like to work with?
Awesome. This is the story of every service job, right? Like the people you work with make a huge difference. Yeah, Christian.
Like good benefits.
Yes, and I'm glad this is when we say good benefits. I want to expand on what those benefits might be.
Like health insurance?
Yeah, insurance, dental, those kinds of things. Yeah, Danielle?
Oh, like paid time off.
Yes.
Paid vacation.
Paid time off, insurance, and so on and so forth. Particularly for Ethan.
Tuition support. I know that's one that's getting popular.
What is that?
It's like when like Starbucks will pay for your college tuition.
It's awesome. I would also call this paid professional development if you can get training. For an entry-level job, there's one other really good one that no one's mentioned, especially for entry-level jobs. Yeah, get some kind of experience from the job, and particularly like learning skills. So I'm going to say learning transferable skills. So these are all things that you would probably want to get out of a job. But the key to getting these jobs that are good And when a job is really good, a lot of other people are going to want it too, right? And they probably all want these things also. So here's a terrible cover letter. I'm really excited to apply for this job because I want a job that pays well. I also want a job with good benefits that gives me insurance and paid time off. I also want tuition support. Thanks, let me know. Interestingly, I didn't read opportunity for this to not feel like work because I think that might be an actual relevant reason for people because that's going to insinuate that you're going to do your job well. I also didn't say that in that terrible cover letter, I didn't say I'm really excited to learn transferable skills because that might also be another selling point. I could switch this, and this is the whole key. If you're getting good at rhetoric, you're getting good at understanding what an audience's problems are and how you can help them solve those problems. So you're asking, what makes a dream candidate? This reminds me, it's kind of a terrible joke, but not really a joke. Someone was like, how do I find a girlfriend? And the response was, you have to be the kind of guy that a girl wants to be with, and then a girlfriend will make it, then you'll find a girlfriend. You can't just go out looking for a girlfriend. You have to be a kind of guy that somebody, that's a heteronormative, whatever. Same things here, right? How do we get a really good job? You become a really good candidate, and you communicate that you can offer exactly what they're looking for. So the number one thing that we're going to be working for, what makes a dream candidate, is an understanding of the employer's situation. And I'm going to say the person that understands the situation the best, and I'm going to say of the hiring managers, the person that's reading the cover letter. If you can understand what their situation is, and you can serve them with kindness and respect. I don't know if anybody's into servant leadership, but this is kind of like that idea. How can I help you? And honestly, if I'm doing this ethically and kindly, if I'm not the right person for this job, I'm okay with that. I just hope that you find the right person for you. Because I love the mission of Children's Sunshine House. In fact, it's more important that these kids find someone to wipe their nose than it is for me to get this job. Obviously, I'm being a little sarcastic, but you see, this is a totally different 180 in approach, right? I'm not like, I want this job for me. I'm like, I want this job because I want to see Tesla succeed. And I believe I could really actually do a good job here at Tesla. Oh yes, I know your employees routinely work 85 hours a week. I read all the Reddit threads. This is like kind of funny, but honestly, someone did want to apply for Tesla in a previous semester, and the work culture at Tesla is insane. Their materials for like what we're looking for is basically like giving them permission to overwork you at the outset. And it's so competitive that they can get away with it. It's crazy. So one of the things that you're also trying to figure out is whether or not you want to be a part of that situation. Might sound cool to work at Tesla, but when you start reading about what the internal culture at Tesla is like through Glassdoor or whatever, you might not actually want to work there anymore. Does that make sense? Yeah. So another one is figuring out how they care about how they can serve. And I'm curious about what else would you say? What else makes a good dream candidate? Obviously, it's going to depend on the situation, but in general, yeah, Daniela. Sorry. What else makes a dream candidate? What kinds of things do you think employers are looking for? By the way, this is a really good Google search. What are employers looking for in 2022 that they can't find?
Teamwork.
Yes, and that is actually one of the big key skills. This is so important. There's all these kinds of, we're going to talk about this. There's a bunch of verbs. You're trying to, by the way, just spoiler alert, I'm going to look through your cover letter and count the verbs. And I'm going to look at how specific the verbs are. I bet we could come up with 10 verbs connected to teamwork. Collaborate. What else?
Listening.
Listen. Offer good feedback. Ask good questions. Provide good structure. What else? Understand the problem or understand other people. Adapt, is that a verb? Adapt with agility using the Scrum Master framework. Have we heard of Scrum Master? It's a real thing. It's huge in software development. In fact, you could get certified in you could be your own Scrum Master. There's a lot of companies that will pay good money for a Scrum Master, which is it's basically like a workflow design. It's really actually quite interesting, which is why I got interested in it. You see what I'm saying? So not just like teamwork is a key skill. There's another really giant one, communication. And the other one that's not on here, like cutting to the chase, is key learning skills. It's like getting better. Is learning a skill? If you can say that you're a good learner and mean it, and especially if you're really interested in learning exactly what it is that they have to teach, that's a really huge thing. In fact, I've used that as it's all my teaching applications. I've said what makes my best qualification for this job is that I really love learning, and I want to share that with my students as much as possible. This whole unit, by the way, is me kind of trying to think about what would be most valuable for my students. How would we apply rhetoric in a way that's most valuable? Well, I know. You should have them find a real opportunity and then write a real cover letter targeted at that real opportunity using the understanding of the rhetorical situation, understanding what the employer needs, how to do it, so on and so forth. Other things that make a dream candidate, and maybe if we're like, and this is good brainstorming for your cover letter, maybe we're also thinking about your own best traits, so that, like, I'm thinking of humility as one of my good traits. On a good day, I'm very humble. Respect. Cultural awareness, maybe. Understanding different cultures. So having values that the employer shares, that might be diversity, inclusion, equity, and justice.
Passion.
Say again?
Passion.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Yes. I want to put interest. Sometimes, has anybody ever written a job posting before? I have. It's hard to not like say everything you want. I really would like to get a video editor who's a good copy editor that also knows how to schedule and organize social media posts and can organize podcast guests and like everything that I don't want to do. I'd like this person to be able to do it, please. Oh, and also it's an entry-level job, so that pays $15 an hour. It doesn't really work like that, or at least it can, but basically it's hard to communicate exactly what you're looking for, and the more you can think about how can I help this hiring manager, that's really what we're looking to do. if you're doing, how many people are thinking about going to grad school or keeping that as an option? Anybody want to use this assignment to apply, to write a personal statement for grad school? That's a little different. Instead of what makes a dream candidate, I could ask, like, what makes a dream student? What kind of student are they looking for in this program? And probably there's some key skills that are going to track onto grad school as well. Group work, working in teams, being good at written and verbal communication. You could like separate those out. Having a real interest in these things. And so on and so forth. Okay, any questions so far? Let's then, okay. This is all still under the rhetoric of networking, and I wanted to just put these down as like, we're thinking about one, the jobs we're looking for, but to really do this well, that is kind of replaced by trying to figure out what they're looking for and focusing on that. And in the background, you have like all the things that you're looking for, but your focus is showing them that you're probably the best candidate for the job or the position. And it's a good, so if we look at networking, I also, to just on the grad school note, tell you how I got into grad school and what I've learned from getting into grad schools, having opportunities to be in different grad schools. What is this? And this connects to even if you're not going to grad school. Anybody know? Has anybody gotten instruction on how to get into grad school, like strategies on how to do this? Anybody want to take a guess? What would be the best way to get into grad school? And when we do this guess, if we're thinking rhetorically, whose situation are we thinking about?
Situation.
Theirs. So I want to know, like, who makes the decision of which grad students are going to be here? What do they look at when they decide? And how can I make myself known to those people in a way that increases the likelihood of them giving me a spot? I'm not just putting an application out there. I'm trying to think about how to make it easy on them to let them know that I'm going to be a good fit for this program. So yeah, Christian, or other ideas on?
Like academic achievements.
Yes. Other extracurricular stuff that says something about who you are, what you care about, clubs that you've joined, potentially relevant. Service, awesome. And I'm going to argue that a lot of these, these are relatively, like, givens, that's going to be part of getting into grad school is having these things. But let's say your GPA is maybe not as good as other people's, or your engagement and service might not be as much as other people's, and so you're in the position where you need to write a really good personal statement to let them know what kind of a person you are. That's your real opportunity. Yeah.
A letter of recommendation.
Yes, so that's also like your letters of rec. And these are all like, yes, you need all these things. And now we want, like, so this is all a given. What we want to think about is how to use the rhetorical situation to stand out from the other 90 applicants that are applying for this job or this position in a grad school. And the question we want to ask is, how can I make this easy on them? What's interesting, so here's how to do it. You need to ask who teaches here. What's their research in? What's it like to be a student here? So if I'm going to put this into steps, how to get into grad school, step 1, you find the faculty you're curious about. Number 1 consideration when you start shopping for grad schools, you are shopping. You're looking for a really good experience. It's going to set you up in a place that you want to be for a good amount of money. You're also looking to see whether or not there's funding. I was surprised to learn that if a grad school really wants you, they'll waive your tuition and pay you to be there, either in the form of a research assistantship or a teaching assistantship. So when I got my undergraduate degree in philosophy, and people said, "What are you going to do with that?" And I said, "I don't know, I'm just going to be a good person." He said, "I know, but what are you going to do for work?" I was like, "I'll just be a good person. And things will work themselves out. Also, I'm in a rock band." Didn't work out, or it's still working out, whatever. And I found out that a graduate program would waive your tuition and pay you, at the time it was $1,400 a month, now it's closer to $1,800 a month, to be a teaching assistant, teaching one section of logic and critical thinking per semester. I was like, sign me up. And get paid to go to school, awesome. Traditionally speaking, programs that everybody wants to be in, there's less likely that there's funding there. If you want to go to Bowling Green, Kentucky to study communication, I bet you can get funding there. No offense, Bowling Green, Kentucky. But it's law of supply and demand, kind of. There's also there's an English education master's program here. I think they got 120 applications, and they give funding to 9 to 12 people every year. How did I get that job? I did get that job. Here's how. I found the faculty that I wanted to learn more about who seemed like they taught classes in the program. I identified 3 of those faculty. There was one that seemed like the nicest to me based on their online profile. I sent them an email. "Hi, I'm exploring my options for grad school, and I'm wondering what it's like to go to school here. I'm wondering what it's like to be a grad student in this department. Could we set up a 15-minute meeting to just talk about this?" She right, and I put, also, I was looking at your research and how it's on transitions that adolescents go through from middle school to high school, and from high school after they graduate. Super interesting. Kind of wondering how you got into the science of transitions in adolescence. What do you suppose her reply was? "Oh my God, someone read my research?" Actually, not what she said. She said, "That sounds awesome. I'd love to chat. How about 4 p.m. next week?" Great. Came to her office. Talked to her about what I was looking to get out of the program. Told her that I also went to the education department. It's housed in that building right over there. And was appalled at how it just did not feel academically rigorous at all. And I was very disappointed with everyone I talked to over there. It felt like I was going back to high school and I was looking for a graduate program. She's like, so you're looking for a challenge. And I'm like, yeah, I just want to, I want to teach. I love teaching. Anyway, at the end of that conversation, she looked at me and she said, "Are you going to apply?" And I said, "I'm not sure yet." And she said, "You should." I said, "Yeah?" She said, "I think this would be a good fit for you." I said, I'll think about it. And she goes, "You really should apply." And I go, "Okay." And she goes, "I don't know if you're hearing me. I'm on the selection committee, and I'm pretty sure we can get you funding if you apply." Okay, thank you. Really, I think you'd really bring a lot to this program. I think you balance it out in an interesting way, and I just think basically, she liked that I really wanted to be a teacher. It reminded her of what it was like to be a young teacher wanting to get better at teaching. So she saw a little bit of herself in me. We formed a friendship. I applied. I got full funding. No surprise there. So how do you do it? 1, you find faculty. 2, find out if there's funding if you want to get paid to go to grad school. Sometimes this is more whatever, important for some people, whatever. And then you schedule a meeting to learn about the program. Now you can do this on Zoom. And this is what's interesting here. When we start thinking rhetorically, you want to put yourself in the position of the hiring committee, right? Okay, you have a stack of 90 applications and you're trying to get the best 12 grad students. And you've met 4 of these students in person. 86 people you've never met, 4 that you have met. And you like the 4 people you met. Who do you think you're more likely to admit into the program? The people that you've met or the people you haven't met? Because it's going to be easier, right? Less risk. So that's basically how you get into grad school, at least through the back door of finding faculty in the program, and also to figure out whether or not you even want to be a student there. So I realized talking to the instructors in the education department, I personally did not jive with them. I actually went to a class for their PhD program to see if I should get a PhD in educational leadership. I hated that class. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to sit with these people for the next 2 years, 4 years. Just didn't feel right to me. Nothing wrong with those people, just not for me. Does that make sense? So, key lessons from this. It's about people. And what people like and what people want. Okay, so this connects to networking as well. And I wonder, like on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do we know about networking? 5 being a lot, 1 being not very much. 2s and 3s. What do we know about networking? Yeah, we've heard it's not what you know, it's who you know. I'm actually going to modify that. I don't think it doesn't really matter who you know on social media. It's who knows you. Is that different?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Also, who knows you that can vouch for you. Yep, so it's not what you know, it's who you know. One of my favorite writers, Jim Collins, writes about who luck as a particular kind of luck, the most powerful kind of luck. Meeting people, certain people that are invested in your long-term success is the number 1 thing that will change the trajectory of your professional career. So he argues. How do you find those people? That's the question we have on the table today. So what else do we know about networking? It's not what you know, it's who knows you that can vouch for you, or who knows you that they know enough that you can provide value. What else? And we can also do some tips on how to do this too, if we have that. That's what we want to do for the next 20 minutes or so. Yeah, Christian.
Using your social media.
Yes, awesome. Which platforms are the best for networking professionally? Yep. What else? How many of us are on Facebook? Yeah. Older people are. But yeah, I don't think. Instagram? Yeah, I think that's... It seems to me the trifecta of most significant social media sources to network as LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. There's a lot of people that are very professional on Twitter. It can be you can leverage Twitter as a professional platform. Other ways to network, and we're going to deep dive a little bit deeper into that, because social media is incredibly powerful if we use it right. Yeah, Jules. There we go. I'm going to say in asking good questions. Yes. Like, what is it like to... You're a college instructor? What's that like? Do you like it? What do you love about your job? What's the hardest parts about it? Yeah, good. Krista?
This is kind of related, but like getting involved in just
Yeah.
random stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be for your job, because like you never know who you're gonna meet. And, like, putting yourself into it also.
Yes, doing random stuff, being open. Yeah, Christian.
Researching.
Great. I'm gonna actually put that one up here. Researching what?
Kind of like how you talked about the hiring manager. You talked about
Yes.
like getting some
Awesome.
skills.
So researching people and opportunities for sure. Employers. I'd really like to work at the Lyric or at New Belgium. What's it like to work there? Who's making those hiring decisions? Are they hiring? What help do they need? What problems do they have? Good. So yeah, being open. I think having conversations. Someone also mentioned like volunteering as another random thing that you can do to meet people that also looks good on a resume and shows that you care about something. So choosing a cause that like says something about you, so that the volunteering, when they see that you volunteered at X place, they can be like, oh, I also like the Humane Society. So there's some kind of value connection. You can establish common ground with people. Awesome. Let's see. Notes for today. Okay, I had, in terms of my networking how-to, when I was thinking about how to do this better, the key idea is finding ways you can help. And this is really actually kind of interesting. Has anybody been in an area where, and I don't want this to sound insulting, where a small child is trying to help and they're actually just getting in the way more than they're actually helping? They're like, but I want to help. And you're like, good, okay, now it's going to be even more for me to have you help. This is kind of the big ideas of identifying ways that you can actually help. Means that you're curious about helping and that you want to grow or improve, so you really take good feedback in whatever thing that you're looking for. And when you're thinking about how to network and what connects, the biggest thing is that you're trying to develop skills that are valuable. When we do our active verbs, when we do our cover letter, those skills are expressed in active verbs, which are verbs that show some kind of action, like coding is an active verb, programming in C++ is an active verb, managing classrooms. It's like, from a teaching standpoint, your ability to manage classrooms, design lesson plans, adjust instructional methods for students with special needs, communicate effectively with parents, network with other teachers to identify learning outcomes. What did we just do? Design, adjust, network, communicate. Those active verbs are like your number one thing that you can do. Okay, question for you. You just graduated and you have 2 jobs on the table. One is an $80,000 a year job with you're not going to be able to transfer any of the things that you do. So you're not really going to gain any skills, but it's worth $80,000 a year. And another job that's $40,000 a year, but you're going to get a ton of skills that you're going to be able to transfer for the rest of your career. And let's say you enjoy doing both of those things the same. So the enjoyment level is equal. $80,000 a year for 1 year commitment, but no transferable skills. $40,000 a year, 1 year commitment with a lot of transferable skills. How many people are going to take the 80 grand? There's not really a right answer here. I think there's good reasons for both. How many people take the 80 grand? How many people take the 40 grand? Why? Yeah, Christian.
I was gonna ask, is your like living, like you know like how to live?
Yeah, same, let's say it's like same living situation. So yeah, like, and that is another really interesting, when you look at income, it's actually income minus expenses. So if you're making 40 grand a year, but you're living in a monastery and you take home 40 grand, that's different than making 80 grand a year and living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Denver. But whatever. Yeah,
I think
Ruby.
the transferable skills will end up being worth more than $40,000 in the long run.
Lifetime earnings, if you can make an extra $5,000 a year, you're going to make that $4,000 back in 8 years. Yes. What if one of those skills was negotiating for higher pay? I just saw someone giving workshops on this, and her workshop title was How I Went from Making $70,000 a year to $250,000 a year in 3 years. I'll show you how. All about negotiating and lateral movement. So it's so wild about our job, about the world right now, is that there's people teaching everything on the internet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are full of shit. And some of them are not. Okay, why did I do that thought experiment? When I say valuable skills, I'm meaning like skills that you can transfer. So this should be valuable and transferable. These are skills that you actually can transfer into a new situation and make a bunch of money from that situation. We can Google what skills are employers looking for in 2023. Actually, does someone have a computer that can actually do that for us? What skills do employers want in 2023? Or in whatever, maybe 2022. Most desirable skills or something like that. Anybody find something on that?
It says top 15 skills employers are looking for in 2022. Communication skills.
Who's the publishing?
I don't even know. Oh,
Forbes?
the blog.
Some blog. Cool. We'll take it. What do they say?
Communication skills, interpersonal skills,
Ooh.
teamwork, time management, self-management,
I've not seen that yet.
problem solving, public speaking,
Hmm.
and it says public presenting.
We're gonna work on both of these things.
Organization. That's pretty much. Oh, loyalty.
Ooh, I want to put a pin in loyalty because one of the things we want to be curious about is how long you should stay at a position. I'll just tell you this story now since it came up. One of my friends has a small business and they were like, I am never hiring another college student again. And I was like, oh shit, shots fired. What happened? And she's like, no sense of loyalty. I'm like, what do you mean? Seems like a big generalization, friend.
Right?
And she said she hired this person. When they agreed to work there, they signed an agreement that they'd work there for at least 6 months. This is after they figured out what the job was, because 3 months of that was going to be training, onboarding, which is a giant investment on her part. A week after they finished the training, this person said that they no longer wanted to work there. So she basically trained this person that then quit on her. She said that's the 3rd time that that's happened to her. I said, are you sure the problem isn't you? Because we're friends. But she's like, you know what? I thought about that for sure. And no, like, we all get along really well. When it comes to getting the job, they're all like there and they're super excited about it. But when it comes to doing the work of the job and they figure out what that's like and they realize really what that's like, they bail. So now I'm like really trying to get them to understand what that's like, but I haven't had that problem with the older people I've worked with. So I'm just going to stick with that. And this is a giant issue that I don't know how much we want to get into as we go through this, but like stereotypes around Gen X and Gen Z in the workforce are a thing. Have we heard some of this? In terms of constraints, like why people might not want to hire you? What are some of those things we've heard? Christian?
Lazy.
Yes. Distracted. Weak. Dang.
I've heard that.
I haven't like this is like a bodybuilding
like as in,
job?
like mental health wise, like
Oh.
in that way.
Like
I don't
anxious.
agree with that, but that's just what
No, yeah, and I don't agree with this either. I actually think I should also say there's a lot of good sources on people that say that younger talent is the number one way to grow your business because you can think freshly. How many of you want to make the world a better place? Holy shit. So that's a big sellable skill. You also, like, digital natives is another one that people are arguing about, whether or not how well we know how to use technology, whatever. Entitled is another big one. So how can you show that you are not lazy and entitled? That's what you would want to be thinking about if you think that they're going to or maybe you just don't want to work in a place where they're going to judge you by your age. There's another option. Okay. So one thing that we're looking to do is if you can, ideally you're trying to find situations that you can develop skills, and that one of the biggest, like the skill that I think is the most important skill to develop is learning. If you can learn, like being really, like that you really do want to learn and grow, that you really care about doing a good job, I think that's a really good one. Okay, number 2, the really big networking tip is getting curious about other people. And being nice. Where you're not out to get something from other people, you just want to learn more about them. Do we agree that people like to talk about themselves? Do we agree that sometimes it's hard to find people who are able to listen? So what value do you have to offer people? I'm really curious about what it's like to be. I'm really curious about what it's like to do what you're doing. I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to go to school to be a high school teacher or a junior high school teacher. Can you tell me a little bit about, I'm curious about what that is. I brought in on this note one of my favorite books that actually really kind of blew my mind. Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, Designing Your Life, How to Build a Well-Lived and Joyful Life. It's got some, whatever, this book has been used. There is a ton of dog-eared pages in here. I generally am skeptical about books with what I call kind of flu titles. It seems a little like flu. Until I saw that Bill Burnett and Dave Evans are Silicon Valley innovators and Stanford University design educators, and their hugely successful course, Designing Your Life, have helped thousands change the way they live. Burnett and Evans believe that in order to change, people need a design process to help them figure out what they want and how to create it. This long-awaited must-have book, Burnett and Evans make clear to us, step by step, how to think like a designer and how to design and build a life at any age in which we can thrive. Designers don't think their way forward, they build their way forward. Rather than dreaming up a lot of fun fantasies that have no relationship with the real world or the real you, they show us how to build a future brick by brick, how to approach our own life design challenges with the same kind of curiosity and creativity that result in the creation of the light bulb, printing press, and the internet, as it gives the tools and shows simple mindsets and how to use them to practice your life design. Number 1, curious. Number 2, you are, oh right, by the way, they found that some people are luckier than other people, and that luck is a skill that's largely in proportion to how curious you are and how many different situations you put yourself in. So if you don't get yourself out there, you lessen the chances of you being lucky. And the easiest way to put yourself out there is just be curious about other people and curious about other situations. Reframing, so on and so forth. Oh, and radical collaboration. You're not alone. You don't have to come up with a brilliant life design on your own. Design is a collaborative process. Why I brought this in, they have Introduction to Life Design. And these ideas, one, in the Design Your Multiple Lives, you are legion, each of us are many. Dysfunctional belief, I need to figure out my best possible life, make a plan, execute it. It's dysfunctional, actually. There are multiple great lives and plans within me, and I choose which one to build my way forward to next. Average number of careers an American will have today? I heard 7 on average. That means some people have like 14, because some people have 1. I am almost 40, and I am on my 4th or 5th career, depending on how you count. And I'm weighing options for my 5th and my 6th, and maybe my 7th, depending on how things work out with the media company we started, the other business we started, and or whether or not I go back to grad school in organizational psychology. I have no idea. So those are all possible futures for me. And I personally feel a lot better knowing that I have like possible futures. One, just being like I continue to teach here because this is a pretty good gig. Does this seem like better to you than like figuring out? Okay. Why I'm bringing this up is that they also have a really good section on how not to get a job and designing your dream job to help you choose happiness, develop failure immunity, and then build a team that's going to help you live a life that really makes you happy. Which, again, I feel like these are like skills that we should be teaching everyone. A big problem that I've identified is that this way of thinking about human life is foreign, and it makes so much freaking sense once you get into it. One of the things that they really emphasize is that, let's say you want, it's this idea of prototyping. So let's say I want to make a pen. Do I just like make a pen and then like go into mass production with a pen? No. I make a prototype of what I think the pen will be. Then I give it to some people to use it. They use it, give me feedback, and then I make another prototype. How many prototypes do you think this pen went through before it went to mass production? You get the point. 3 or 4, something like that, right? So I want to be a high school teacher. Ideally, I would prototype what it's like to be a high school teacher before I make the decision to jump full on into it. Or I want to start a surf camp for kids in Costa Rica, or open my own restaurant. So a lot of the people that open their own restaurants love the idea of opening a restaurant, but once they have the restaurant and they're managing employees, it's like, oh my God, I just wanted to cook. Maybe I don't want a restaurant after all. I could have saved myself a lot of hassle if I would have better prototyped the life of restaurant owner. Okay. The easiest way to make prototypes is by talking with other people. And so when we prototype to ask good questions, create experiences, reveal our assumptions, fail fast, fail forward, sneak up on the future, and build empathy for ourselves and others. And so asking these good questions, and then this is the main section I wanted to bring in today. Once you've committed yourself to life design, prototyping, how do you do it, the simple and easy, and this is all like how to network, by the way. It ties right into this. It just means getting someone's story. The story you're after is the personal story of how the person got to be doing that thing he or she does, or got the expertise he or she has, and what it's really like to do what they do. So the questions, and this is also, you may have looked, getting curious about other people's lives, there's resources online from, other people call this information interviewing, where you find other people to interview and you interview them on what's it like to be you. And how did you get to where you are? I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to be a freelance graphic designer. And I saw that you're a freelance graphic designer from your LinkedIn. And your work, by the way, your portfolio is freaking amazing. Would you have like 15 minutes, like talk to me about like freelance graphic design? I'm just trying to figure out if I should really invest in that or if I should like do a grad program in art school. So they say the two things that you want to be able to ask is, you basically flatter someone, say that you really appreciate who they are. So specific compliment, notice this is a lot like peer feedback. And I could tie this to the forums. If I read your peer comments and I can't tell who you responded to, like if you say something like, good job, I love the evidence that you used to support your claim. It really made me think. That could apply to anyone in the class, yeah? That's not going to get you full credit on the peer reviews. If you say, hi, I'm trying to become a graphic designer and I notice you're a graphic designer. Do you have 15 minutes to talk to me about what it's like to be a graphic designer? Not as interesting as, hi, I notice your profile that you have worked with these companies and I love your aesthetic, particularly on the Chiba Hut logo that you made. It's like really simple, but not simple at all. Anyway, I'd like to be like you. This is a terrible, terrible cold email. You want to revise this. I'm curious how long it took you to secure clients like Chiba Hut. I'm also just wondering whether or not this is the life for me, and for some reason I felt comfortable reaching out to you. Would you have 15 minutes to talk to me? I'm lost. They basically say the goal of doing this is to just say, hi, I'm lost. Do you have it? I'm looking for some directions. And that if someone stops you on the street and asks you for directions and you're able to give them directions, most people will give them directions, right? And likewise, imagine yourself 20 years from now. Would you want to help someone 20 years younger than you make a good decision about their life if they came to you? Especially if it was like no skin, like all it's costing you is 15 minutes. You might also get to ask them what it's like to be on college campuses these days because you just read this article and you haven't talked to a college student in a while and you're just curious, what's it like to be at CSU? I was there. By the way, on this, when you're getting curious about other people's lives and you're finding people, I had a career center advisor come in and talk to my class in a previous semester, and he said the number one thing you can do is follow the alumni network on LinkedIn. So you will have graduated at CSU with a degree from Colorado State University that gives you a point of connection with like 30,000 other people that have graduated from CSU before you. And some people are pretty proud about being a RAM. And you can say, I saw that you went to CSU. I'm just curious about this. And by the way, you seem awesome. Do you have 15 minutes to talk with me about something? Here's what happens. And then I'll take your question, Krista. They give a case study in this book of two people that they know. They teach in California. Two people moved to Atlanta, and they didn't know anybody in their respective fields. One person wrote 20 cover letters to 20 job openings. Another person scheduled 20 information interviews to learn about people in his area. At the end of both of those things, somebody had 3 job offers and 7 interviews, official interviews, and the other person had no job offers and no interviews. Which strategy do you think works better? Why? Same reason why I got into grad school here. I see you. I like that you like my work because I'm selfish and I like to talk about myself. And so what they say is if you do a good information interview, like you information interview the person at Otterbox, at the end of that information interview, they might say, so just tell me a little bit about yourself. And you go, yeah, I'm a 3rd-year student. They say, are you looking for an internship? And you say, well, yeah, but that's not why I'm here. And they go, oh, I know, that was clear. But we have an internship that we're about to post, and it would sure save us a lot of trouble if we didn't have to find someone. Are you available 10 hours a week? Holy shit, I just got an internship at Otterbox. Like, that was crazy. How did that even happen? So that happens a lot. In fact, they also say that like less than half of jobs actually get publicly announced because most people will try to hire people that they know because it's just easier. We don't like to do things that are hard, and hiring is freaking hard and risky. And again, with the networking, most people will want to hire someone that they know or that someone vouches for. So if I trust Ethan and Ethan says, I know a guy or someone that can do this job and they're looking for work, I'm going to be like, perfect. I want that person. I don't want to hire somebody. Yeah, Krista.
Oh, I was just gonna ask how to not sound too like kiss-assy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This also connects to a gender dynamic that's problematic as well. If you're reaching out to older people, that like you don't want to come across as like there's other risks involved in like in I don't know. You tell me. How do you not sound kiss-assy?
Well, I don't know, cause like it depends. Like,
My example sounded pretty kiss-assy.
yeah, but like I understand like that would work for some people, but then for some people it wouldn't. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I'm curious about how do we do it and not be kiss-assy? Yeah, Ethan.
I think I felt least kiss-assy when you like went back and forth between like complimenting them and like asking a
For
question
help.
about that includes yourself,
Yeah.
and then going back to compliment, like switching back and forth.
I think I would also say just anything you can do to alert them that you're not spamming them. So you shouldn't be able when you reach out to them, your message to them needs to really feel like it's only to them. I'm not just blanket emailing all the graphic designers on LinkedIn. I'm emailing you because something. I just really liked your portfolio online. I like this work that you did. I like how you described yourself in your profile. I don't know. So that they feel special. How many of us want to feel special and seen? That's what you want to do. I also wouldn't lay it on too thick. Like if someone comes to me and you're like, I love this, I love this, I love this, what am I probably thinking? They want something from me.
Or if like they bring up where you used to live, it's like a little creepy.
Yeah, even that's never happened to me. Creepy. They want something from me. A key to this is to not need anything from them. If you schedule an information interview and you say, oh, also maybe we could figure out an internship, immediately I don't want to meet with you. Because that's a giant ask for me to consider you for an internship. We have a formal process for that for people I don't know, and you're one of the people I don't know. So I'm not even going to reply to you. Yeah, I would say just be genuine, honestly, and don't overdo it. Just make them feel special by noting something that is especially theirs and not anybody else's. Okay, there is... So you have a specific compliment, and then the other really good thing is good specific questions that connect to their particular work. So like, for example, my academic advisor did her research. I found her CV online. I looked at the article she was publishing, and they were all about transitions from middle school to high school. So my question I could ask is, how did you end up doing research on transitions from middle school to high school? It's a great question, because it shows her that I dug through her material enough to ask that question and that I care about it. Okay, so I think that's pretty much the main idea of networking, in the sense that you are trying to figure out how to help other people do what they need. And honestly, one of the things that people need is to feel like they're helping, and you're giving them an opportunity to help you genuinely and authentically. You probably get a pretty good response from that. I would love to you're gonna find, so your job for Thursday is to find a particular opportunity that you want to apply to. And if you find one that you actually want to get, to email me and tell me that so that I can get some examples to show on the doc cam. I'd love to help you get the job that you want to get or the internship that you want to get. And I'd like to prioritize and look at in class at a few examples on how I would structure the rhetorical analysis of their situation. And it would be awesome to use real examples from the class. So if you find a position at the Butterfly Pavilion in Denver and you really want to work in the Butterfly Pavilion, like tell me and send me the link to the thing, and then we'll analyze it as a class together on Thursday. If you really want to go to Arizona State University Department of Behavioral Economics, like we can do that as well, whatever it is. Ideally, so before class, and I would just get started on trying to find, so we didn't mention that. How else do you find people or opportunities? Word of mouth is honestly the best one. Like if you can actually talk to other human beings that alert you of something, that's great because it just makes it feel more personal, but that's unrealistic. That takes time. Like you can like keep your ears open for the rest of the semester and you might not hear about anything. So until then, Handshake online. That's the link that I put. I think it's still called Handshake.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. And I think there used to be a job board on RamPoint too, or on RamWeb. Maybe they don't have that anymore. Jules?
Some departments have their own career center. So I know geoscience
Yeah.
research has its own career center.
Awesome. You can ask the Career Center for their jobs. You also, like, there is job boards. So, like, Indeed is another one. Idealist is like one for humanitarian jobs, like for jobs that make the world a better place. Christian?
I was gonna say Glassdoor.
Glassdoor is a great one. LinkedIn jobs. Oops. How many of us have a LinkedIn profile? I would set one up by the end of the week. It's a weird platform, and you might as well get going on it. Just say you're a student who wants to make the world a better place. I think not having a LinkedIn puts you at a big disadvantage, particularly with all the moves that LinkedIn is making to be like the professional social network in the coming years. So I'd at least get that set up. And then you can put open to work on there and you can find jobs that way. Any questions about things you might want to do? Yeah, Ethan.
Jobs that we're not yet eligible for. Like,
Yeah,
would that be a
great.
poor idea to write on.
You can. Honestly, I think it's better to find a stepping stone internship to that job than to practice going for that job. But I have had students practice getting, so you can do that. Like if you know you want that job when you graduate, it can be a helpful exercise to realize I need this and this and this to be really competitive to get that job. And then you could just lie in your fake cover letter. And then please don't submit it, obviously. You do not need to submit this to the real world. Like that's not a requirement. I'm just encouraging you to find something that you actually want to do it for. Okay.
Can it be like for anything?
It can be for anything.
Okay, because I literally just like went up to someone that was like here in the quad.
Are you hiring?
Huh?
No. Did you ask them if they were hiring?
Yeah, they were hiring. They're
Oh,
hiring
they-
for like
That's-
people that to like give people tours, like kids or high school kids at the school.
Oh, from CSU?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a great job. Number one employer in Fort Collins? CSU.
Nice.
College State EDU has a whole jobs board. You can just go to jobs.collegestate.edu and there's a bunch of positions there. There always is. And yeah, that job of leading tours is a good job. And actually have helped people get that job before.
Yeah, that's cool. We're doing that.
What do you think the number one thing they're looking for in a tour guide? This is like, so we want to get in their head. And you're the hiring manager for the people that hires the tour guides. What are you really looking for that might not be in the job posting, Jules?
Like entertaining a crowd.
Entertaining a crowd. Yes. I didn't think about that one. That's a good one. What else?
School spirit.
That's what I'm thinking. How much do you love CSU?
100,000,000%. No, I'm just kidding.
You're hired. How effectively will you be able to communicate your excitement for being here?
Well, that's the thing. I'm bad at public speaking. I'm trying to be better.
That works. I wouldn't say I'm bad at public speaking. I would say I really want to improve in public speaking.
Okay, that's what I told the girl. I really
Yeah.
would like to improve.
Here you go.
Okay,
Go
cool.
for that one. What's your favorite part of being at CSU? Why should someone come to CSU if they're on the fence?
Well, I told her also I was a transfer student, so I have different,
Amazing. We're looking for a couple people who have transfer student experience. Awesome. Was this helpful?
Yes. Very helpful.
Is there any question or what stood out? Anything of this, like anything of the information from our? I know this was a lot of notes. I just feel like before we dive into the cover letter stuff, it's helpful to get like the bigger picture of like. Honestly, applying for jobs with cover letters is not as effective as finding jobs that never get posted through your network. So really the skill is how to build a network. If I could figure out how to grade you on this, I think I probably would. And the closest thing I could come up with is this. Find me the names and contact information of 6 potential leads that you want to interview. Get information from them. Send them individual emails to try to schedule 2 information interviews or 1. Take notes on that interview, share that information with me, and I'll give you extra credit on the cover letter unit. So names and contacts of people, draft letters to them, cold letters to say, hi, you don't know me, but I'm interested in chatting with you about it, and then your questions for the interview or your notes from that interview.
How many contacts?
I think find 6 people to interview, reach out to 3 of them, try to get 1 interview. Yeah, we'll go 6, 3, 1. 6 potential leads, 3 emails sent, 1 actual interview set up. And don't tell them you're doing it for extra credit. I don't think that's cool. Okay, well, that's what I had for us. And by you were okay on Thursday. You're just choosing an opportunity you want to analyze, and that's what should say. You have a reading notes over this opportunity and a forum post over the opportunity. So and I'm imagining you can probably do a lot of the same things. Like your reading notes are going to be copy and pasted into your post, and then you're just going to organize it a little bit better. Cool? All right. May the odds be ever in your favor. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks for being here.